Are you tired of your truck being slow? Or maybe you just bought a truck and you're wondering what to do next? Then I got the parts list for you. In this video, I'm gonna be going over the top 5 power modifications you can do to your 5.9 or 6.7 Cummins. If you do these mods, I guarantee that your truck will be totally different by the time you're done. Welcome back to LMDiesel. All right, so some housekeeping stuff. First off, these upgrades are for a 5.9 or 6.7 Cummins. Some of them do apply to the 12 valve Cummins, but not all of them. So I would say anything that's a 24 valve and newer, all of these mods should apply. All right, upgrade number 1 that you need for your truck is a transmission. Yes, I know. You want to throw some more power at this thing first, but if you want your truck to live, you need some sort of transmission. And unfortunately, transmissions are very expensive, but if you knock this out first, you will not have to worry about the future power you'll make, and it'll make your build overall a lot more reliable. Personally, I would recommend a built transmission from Unrivaled Diesel. That's where I got mine. But if you're not close to them, I would recommend these shops: Tier 1, Firepunk, Randy's Transmissions, and BD Diesel. If I'm not mistaken, all of these shops will ship transmissions to you, but depending on whether you're close to any of these, they might be able to install them for you. BD Diesel doesn't actually have a shop though. I might throw that out there. They're just an online store, so they can just send a transmission to you. Now, if you can't afford a fully built transmission, I totally get it. There are a couple things you can do to make your current transmission a little better. If you have an automatic transmission, you could get an aftermarket valve body. For this, I would probably recommend BD Diesel. An aftermarket valve body will basically raise the line pressure and improve the shifting. Now, while it won't hold all the power, it will at least be a little bit more reliable than a fully stock transmission and will hold more power than stock. If you have a manual in your truck, the good news is that it is a lot cheaper. Honestly, all you need to do is basically throw in a new clutch from Valair, ideally a double disc. Now, one quick note, while it is cheaper to build a manual to make more power, honestly, all you really need to do is put a bigger clutch in it. The tough thing with a manual is that they are just not as fast as the automatic. There it goes. If you're trying to win some street races or you want to potentially drag the truck, I would very much recommend building an automatic. All right, upgrade number 2. This will surprise nobody, but a fast fuel system. If you don't want to do any other upgrade to your truck, you should at least do a fast fuel system. The benefits are huge. Obviously, you get better filtration, you get better fuel pressure, and you get the added benefit of having the support for more power later. A fast, in my mind, is a no-brainer for an upgrade. All right, upgrade number 3, head studs. Now, this is very important because if you're going to be trying to make any sort of power with your truck, you're going to inevitably be making more boost. Now, whenever you're making more boost, the stock head bolts do not like to hold the head on top of the motor. Trust me, I know a lot about that. Might have lost the head gasket. Yeah, I hear it. Is that the downpipe or is that the head?
That's the head.
So to keep your engine happy and more importantly to keep your head gasket happy, I would highly recommend doing head studs before you add any sort of power to your truck. If you want to keep your truck sub 700 horsepower, I would recommend the ARP 2000s. These are a great head stud. I personally ran them on my truck for a while. They should have no problem holding around 50 PSI of boost. If you anticipate more than that, then I would go to the next step up and I would get the ARP 625s. Honestly, if you want to play it safe, I would just go for the 625s no matter what you do. They are just more expensive, but the beautiful thing about 625s is that they will hold all of the boost. I've had the ARP 2000s on my truck. I had the OptiTorque head studs on my truck. And then now I have the ARP 625s. And honestly, the truck lifted the head on both the 2000s and the OptiTorque studs. So if you plan on making anything more than 50 PSI boost, I would recommend a set of ARP 625s. All right, upgrade number 4, valve springs and push rods. Now, why do you need valve springs and push rods? First, let's talk about the valve springs. Upgraded valve springs help to keep your valves closed. Whenever you add more power to your truck, you're obviously going to be hanging out in some high RPM. If you're gonna be anywhere north of 3,000 probably, you need to have a set of good valve springs in your truck. I would recommend the Hamilton 103-pound valve springs. That's what's in my truck, although I do believe you could get some pretty solid valve springs from a couple different companies. The next part of this is push rods. Now, with push rods, once you start making more power, stock push rods bend very easily. So to avoid that, to avoid any future issues, I would recommend getting a set of push rods. Thankfully, they're not very expensive. I would recommend the Hamilton push rods, although I have a set of LMDiesel push rods in my truck now and they work fine. As long as they are a heavy duty push rod, you should be fine. All right, upgrade number 5, and a lot of guys will do this first, but I actually recommend doing it last, and that is to tune and delete your truck. The benefits to doing this are enormous. Obviously, you'll get more power, you'll get better gas mileage, you won't be recirculating your exhaust, your engine will last longer, everything will be more reliable. It is just all around worth doing to your truck. But if you don't do the mods that I mentioned previously, you could actually break some stuff. Let me give you an example. I was with Chris a couple years ago and he said, "Do you want to see a broken input shaft?" And I said, "Absolutely." So he showed it to me and I was like, what did this come out of? And it was a tuned and deleted 6.7 Cummins. No other power mods, literally nothing. It was tuned and deleted. Stock fuel, stock turbo, stock everything. You can break an input shaft on stock everything. And then with my truck, I had stock fuel for a while. I did have a bigger turbo, but honestly, the truck didn't run great with that setup just because it was stock fuel, big turbo, all that stuff. And it was kind of a dog, but I did end up overpowering third gear on my stock trans, which is pretty common on the 48. So my point is that when you tune and delete your truck, the tune, depending on how hot it is enough power to actually break some stuff. But if you do these power modifications that I recommended before you do that, you should have no problem ripping some high RPM burnouts, doing some boosted launches, all of those things. But honestly, call me crazy, man, a tuned and deleted truck built correctly will kind of rip. Anyway, this is my personal list of what I would do first if I got a stock truck. But hey, go down in the comments, let me know what you would do first. What are your first 5 power modifications you would do to your truck? I was thinking about doing another video like this, maybe top 5 suspension modifications or maybe top 5 exterior modifications. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.